And as does the ability for communications intercepts and tracking of phones and all the other things. So, while, it's always the same story, right? Technology's got an upside and a downside. But the face recognition, the retinal scanning, it's creating all sorts of problems from an operational perspective overseas. And here, of course, the problem is, people are talking about civil liberties and, invasion of privacy. And, so you've got some students out there and they're covered. And next thing you know, they're identified, right? Now they're suspended. And, fine.
Not only that, some of them aren't getting to graduate. This one girl, I was watching this video where they just told her she couldn't graduate because she got arrested.
Well, you know what? You what do they say? You play stupid games.
Yeah, you win stupid prizes.
Yeah, so
they all think they're doing something great. They think they're going to fix it. It's a lot of misplaced energy with tents.
With tents, and with matching tents, and that's the part. Look, hey, God bless the actual students who are out there feeling like they're being a part of something. I get that they're young people. Most of them are gormless, right? They're just saying whatever, right? This is their moment to shine. So they're excited. So they don't, and they, most of them couldn't find Gaza on a map of Gaza. So I think that. That's one side of it, right? And I can't, whatever. But it's the coordination of it all by the various outside groups and the activists and the funding of it, right? And the potential for that funding and the coordination to tie back to groups like Hamas or Hezbollah, which basically means you're tying back to the Iranian regime, right? Because that's the only reason those groups exist. But nobody seems curious about that because a lot of the media wanted to portray this as just like kids being kids. Oh, look at it. This is their moment to shine as student activists. And isn't it wonderful? And it's their Vietnam protests and bullshit. Some of it, okay, fine. So it's layered, right? So some of that's true. You got those kids that are just doing that. But there's the incuriosity of the media to say, well, what the hell's behind this, right? And what groups? Is it Students for Justice in Palestine? Is it, U.S. Campaign for Palestinian Rights, Sammy Dune, right, which has connections back to Hamas? There's Education for whatever, Just Peace in the Middle East. There's groups that have been actively engaging in this. And that's why you get the coordination of all of this, right? It's not, but nobody asks, okay, what's behind it? Just students acting. No, it's not. It's a coordinated effort. And then you look at those groups who are always active in this realm, right? And always looking to have organizations disinvest from Israel or to promote causes that are anti-Israeli, right? And then you say, okay, well, who's funding it, right? So you look at these groups and you say, okay, where's the money coming from? And the money's always coming from the same places, right? The Tides Center, right, which is part of the Tides Network, which gets significant funding, no surprise, from Soros's Open Society Foundation. You get Westchester People's Action Coalition. So you get these groups, and then you get the legal support. So all these people, the activists who are getting arrested, they can turn to Palestine Legal, which provides legal support to the activists and the NGOs that are engaged in all this. Again, they're getting their money from charities. A lot of times the charities don't know they're putting money into these groups, right? It goes into the Rockefeller Brothers Fund, right? And the Rockefeller Brothers Fund provides money to these NGOs, like Justice for, Palestine or whatever. And then, and Rockefeller Brothers gets, funding from Soros Open Society Foundation as well.
That guy, a bit of a problem,
right? Well, yeah, and now his kid is even more of an activist than George is, right?
Of course,
his kid is,
Kid inherited it.
Kid inherited it.
Make up for the fact that he inherited it by being extra woke.
But yeah, and he is,
and
right?
extra guilty.
Oh God,
for having all those billions. You should feel guilty, you little fuck.
Yeah, exactly. God, how can you live with yourself, young Soros?
What you're talking about, though, is a very important point. That this is not organic, and that this is what I was going to get to earlier when I was talking about social media. How much do you think foreign governments have an influence on certain trends and certain things that people are talking and promoting and pushing and being a part of on social media? Because I think it's a big factor. I think it's a big factor with a lot of things. And I think it's a big factor with all this, the most insane woke shit. I think they push it as far as they can so that the stuff that's not as insane, that was insane just a couple of years ago, seems less insane now. It seems more palatable. And then they just keep moving the goalpost. Yeah. And I think you can do that through social media with kids. You can kind of engineer what kids accept.